Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do Lady Death versus Purgatory. I believe this is a Joe Jusko. No, actually, it's not. Dorian? I thought it was a Joe Jusko cover. Anyway, I got a request to do a Lady Death comic or a review, but unfortunately, I don't have much of her. I have more Purgatory comics, and once in a while, I enjoy these kind of stuff. And I know what let's go back to this and see if it's actually good. Um, so it's made by Brian Pulido and Len Kaminski, art by Mike Deodato Jr., who's now working for our Upshot. I believe he does a lot of comics there. His art has changed. I'm not sure if I like it or dislike it. I have to, figure that out. But what Mike Deodato Jr. can do is draw very, very sexy women, as you can see here. So this is, I believe, an aftermath or against some kind of a war against heaven, and now she's preparing for, to how do you say? They go into judgment war. I believe that's the event, and Lady Death is here preparing, reinforcing her. I don't know her castle, her fortress in Las Vegas here, and she has some allies from heaven, allies from hell. We have here Astaroth. I like this character. He's a very dangerous, cool looking dude. He's, I believe, he's a centaur, half man, half horse, and he's also Duke of Hell. And he has some kind of an obligation towards Lady Death, and he basically hates her guts. And there's also some angels involved that are on the side of Lady Death, and everyone has some kind of an oath or obligation or promise to help Lady Death. But then they are getting invaded somehow, and it seems that the Valkyrie here, this is her sister. Her sister's dead, and her body, or I believe her body is taken over by Purgatory, transforming into one of her minions. And then Astaroth comes in and says, "Intruder!" I like his design, by the way. And so they're having a battle here, and but this creature is made of blood, so Astaroth cannot do much here, and he's being attacked. And then Lady Death comes in and says, "Hey, what's going on?" And so the angel says, "Well, we are being invaded by the destroyer of the shining realm." And then we have here Purgatory. So this is, I believe I reviewed a couple of Purgatory comics where she invaded Asgard, if I remember it correctly, and then she killed Odin, and then she took the power for herself. And now she is called the Blood Goddess or something like that. She can control blood and her own blood, etc. She's, let's say, pretty powerful. This is more like a slugfest, the comic, and with beautiful babes and blood and guts, and I like that. I'm going to get you through it and see what's all happening here. But basically, these two women they hate each other. So while Purgatory has her blood warriors, Lady Death can summon the undead or dead, and like an army of the dead. So meanwhile, and they are slugging it out, calling her blood sucking here and necrophilic there, and also they have all these cool creatures they ride on. This flying demon looking horse, and here as well, and they also have some swords that are cursed or enchanted or whatever, and this is a talking flaming sword. There's a complete story behind that. Anyway, look, good looking art, not much backgrounds, which I really dislike, but hey, and the pages are very busy. Like I said, Mike Deodato Jr., great artist, but when it comes to backgrounds, I know he can do it. But in this comic, not so much. It's just more like, hey, look at these sexy babes killing each other, and then we're getting also introduced to, a couple other characters from each of their comics. We have Cremator here, and this is Wrath he created Purgatory in the past, and now he is working for her or something like that. Astaroth, being a total beast that he is, killing monsters left and right and demons. And then we have this angelic person that I don't know what her name is, etc. But then Astaroth is getting, I don't know, taking over by the vampiric bite or something. He's been infected and he is, the bloodlust is taking over. But the cool thing about this character that he is some kind of a oath. He's a Duke of Hell. And he says, the first, my soul cries allegiance to Purgatory. And he says, no, through my vow to Lady Death is my greatest dishonor. To betray it would be a shame incalculably worse. I am Astaroth, Grand Duke of Hell, and I shall not succumb. That's pretty cool. I like that. Give him some character here instead of some throwaway character like Raph, although Raph has a storyline on itself. Well, not a big fan of his dude, but hey, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the main guys, or let's say girls, are these two, and they're beating the crap out of each other, calling them still names, etc. Because they have slugged it out before, and then at some point, Lady Death cleaves Purgatori in two. She actually spits on her as well in disgust. And there are some vile insults that I think, oh man, there was a time that this is just, allowed, without people being canceled and censored and stuff. This is just great stuff. But then Astaroth is still fighting the touch of death, if you will. And he's meeting, his brothers and sisters, I guess, War and Famine. They are been taken over by the vampiric bite, and they are, in serving Purgatory, etc. And they want him on their side, but he is still resisting. And meanwhile, Purgatory reassembles herself because she has that blood magic thingy, and she is, can revive herself. And action, pretty cool, brutal, looks great. Colors are nice, lots of red, but that's what I'm expecting. And then she does exactly the opposite. So she's the one who's, not cleaving her, but stabbing her through the gut. And I love this facial expression. The hair is flowing. It's really good art. Love the lighting, etc. Yeah, just explosion of brutal things here on my panel here. On this splash page, double splash page, by the way, with some panels here. And she says, hey, like to see you suffer, etc. While she is here bleeding to death, I guess. But then somehow these, the sword is talking and say that her blood is poisoned. Well, there's a complete story around that. But then Purgatory leaps at her and licking the blood off her because he's a vampire, etc. Whereas the blood here was the stabbing mode nut, but then it's here again. And then, it's some slight lesbian eroticism here. And then, she fights back. I didn't know she has I-beam powers. That's cool. But then at some point, Purgatory says, hey, you see only a fraction of my power. And then she is, summoning all of her blood back to her, meaning her minions that are infected are drained or dying because of that. I'm not entirely sure. And then, she turns herself into some kind of a giant vampire demon with armor, which looks silly and great at the same time. And then this angel comes and throws her the thingamajig, and he says, I bring you the eternal sight. It's our only hope against Purgatory. And Lady Death says, yes, of course. Unlike Apocalypse, the scythe transcends all forms of magic. Whatever that means. They're having more battle here. And then she's been taken, not hostage, but, Purgatory catches her. And she plunges then the scythe into her heart. And then she exploded somehow. Not sure how this works. Again, looks cool. There's a giant crater. And Lady Death kicks her in the gut while she's still bleeding. I love that. She says, do you have any last words before I send you to the void? Your blood was sweet, pill bitch. And then she is doing that Wizard of Oz thing that, the witch is melting, Purgatori is melting in her own blood, and then we see only her, I don't know, blood shadow thing here. And Lady Death says, defiant to the end. I cannot help but admire that. That is pure fun. So basically, all of these, blood warriors are retreating, and they vow to come back and have revenge for Purgatory, etc. And well, these guys are just reinforcing their, how do you say, their fortress again, and preparing for the war that is coming against heaven. And as you can see here, it's not really the end for Purgatory. And then we see this face here. Great evil ending. I heard that laughing at the end, ha 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 ha, and then fading away in my head. So overall, is this a good comic? Nah, not really. But it's just a slugfest with beautiful women, sexy. Well, it's just cool looking. It's eye candy. That's what I'm trying to say, right? And it's just, we've seen this before with Lady Death and Purgatory. They've been at each other's throats for many, many years. And there's more books to come where these two are, slugging it out or try to kill each other and say vile things. I like that. So overall, yeah, just pure fun. Nothing special, but good enough. Guys, see you next time. Bye-bye.